going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bogey Proof. Got myself, Mike, and Joey tonight. Come to you live week of the Tour Championship playoff finale, whatever you want to call it, down at East Lake in Georgia. Been a while since we talked to everybody, so glad to be back and get in the mix with a lot of different things going on this week in golf and in the next few weeks. So we'll start as we usually do. Joey, what are you sipping on? Where are you calling from?
Still in New Hampshire, boys. I'll be honest, I don't have much. We're just going to sip from the bottle tonight. Little Maker's Mark. What is this? Profile 46. I don't really know what that means, but I wanted to try it. It tastes the same. I'm sure Eric will probably know what it is, but anywho, so cheers. Mikey, what about you, bud?
Unfortunately, I don't have anything. Just the case of just haven't gotten here to Ann Arbor for grad school here a couple days ago. I don't have a couch, let alone any booze. So that's probably going to be a Thursday after class situation where I go and pick up my first bottle. So you might have swung me there. I might be going for a bottle of Makers for something good.
Dude, Makers just
I'm just sipping. I'm sipping on some water from this little vessel that Mr. Fontaine and I received when we were over in Ireland. So a discussion for another day, our Ireland trip, and a spectacular week it was. And hopefully people that follow along on the different socials and stuff enjoyed the pictures and kind of the videos, and definitely going to do a little bit of a debrief and a photo dump at some point. But just water today, living that grad school life. So got to write a paper tomorrow morning and do a few of those things already. So Fontaine, what are you sipping on? And are you still in Connecticut? Where are you at?
Yeah, back in Connecticut, back home from Ireland. Definitely a little sadder than I was a week ago playing golf out in Ireland, but got a little Elijah Craig small batch, so that always helps. I'm not drinking out of the bottle like Joe, although I do respect the hustle there. It's it's something else.
I just got that sitting next to my bed too.
That's what we need. That's the energy we need. Coming back, we had some time off. Coming back with a bang. I love it.
Summer vacation of sorts. Summer vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Summer vacation. Everybody rest, recharge, and get ready for a pretty important week here in PGA Tour golf, and a lot of stuff in LPGA Tour and things coming down the pipeline for the men as well. So we'll dive right into it, I think, and let's talk a little bit of playoffs here. Obviously, Tour Championships this week at East Lake down in Atlanta. BMW last week at Caves Valley. Shout out our good friend Nick Shemkovitz. I'm sure he was busy last week and looked like he had a lot of fun being a part of Caves Valley and hosting that event. And week prior they were, where's Northern Trust this year?
Liberty
National, right? So some pretty good courses. Obviously the playoffs bring a lot of money to the table for these pros, and a little bit different format when you get to the Tour Championship with kind of the staggered starting positions based on your year to date. All the points and rewards that you normally get from winning a tournament are jacked way up in the playoffs. I mean, Tony Finau and Patrick Cantlay was pretty high up in the FedEx Cup throughout the year, but Tony Finau went from I don't even know where to first, and now he's in second, and he didn't have the best year. I mean, he had a pretty solid year from all regards, but he wasn't in the top 10, I don't think, entering the playoffs. So a lot of points, and I don't know, I want to get your guys' thoughts on what you guys think of the somewhat new format. I think it's been maybe 2 or 3 years now, but the new Tour Championship kind of setup where based on your standings, you start anywhere from 10 under to even par, and it's kind of staggered throughout. Do you guys like that? You think that makes more sense, or would you rather just have to do all the math and if he comes in second and I come in fifth, or if I come in eighth and he comes in first, and all those kind of hypotheticals? What do you guys prefer?
I don't care for it. I get it. Actually, it was funny. They were talking about that on Foreplay today, and the way they kind of explained it and worked it out, it kind of, helped make more sense. But I mean, I don't necessarily like it. It's a golf tournament. The last golf tournament came to an end. You finish how you finish, and you start the new one at even, just like every other golf tournament, I guess. And that's how I kind of look at it. What was I just gonna say?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
But it has. I had it right there, and it's just gone.
But I agree with you, Joe. I do not like it. Does this count as an official win, right? If he wins, does he win on the PGA Tour? Right? I think
Yeah.
That in itself is a unique question. And then, and I'll come back to this question in a second too, but I think it's crazy too with the wraparound season and, the year and a half worth of points and everything. Like, who's going to win player of the year too? And we can chat about that at a different time, but like, how do you determine who the player of the year is for a 24-month year? So two-year, PGA Tour season. So, but I don't love the fact that we stagger it. I get it. It's kind of a finale, and we want the person that wins the $15 million at the end of the year, the person that has the best year. But I think I was more in line with having, hey, let's make the FedEx Cup winner 10 million, and then let's have a big pop for kind of this, 30-person tournament at the end of the year. And
yeah, like I don't mind them having two different winners. Like you
no,
won the club and then you won the tour. Like just think, right? And this Tiger Woods wouldn't have won the tour championship if that rule was in play, right? I think it was last year that was the first year they did it.
Yeah,
and we would have never gotten that. That comeback may have never even happened. So I don't know. Golf tournaments start at even.
And I think on the Euro Tour they still do, like, you can have two winners, right? You have somebody that wins the race to whatever, the race to Dubai, right?
Yeah.
That's a season-long thing. But somebody also wins the tournament, the 72-hole tournament played that week. Like, that's two separate winners. Like Fitzpatrick and Lee Westwood were both holding trophies at the end of that week, two different trophies, right? Like, I think that still is in play. I just think they're trying to, like, dumb it down, I think. And maybe that's a little bit harsh, but like they're trying to make it easier to follow for the casual golf fan. Like, if you watch golf on like Sunday afternoons only and you don't follow it year round and whatever, and you turn it on this week because it's Labor Day weekend and you're, at a cookout watching golf and you see, say John Rahm's winning the tournament, but he wasn't, maybe that's a bad example because he was high up in the FedEx Cup, but they like, I don't know, insert whoever's like in the middle of the pack, right? They kind of overcome this deficit that they had and they win the tournament. Like, they just win the FedEx Cup. Like, it's that simple versus like, oh, they won, but did the people ahead of them finish far enough down to actually win the FedEx Cup? But like you said, if you give out two trophies, it's like they're still getting something. I don't know. I don't know if there's really a perfect answer to do it, just especially this year with how long the schedule was. And like, they also changed the timing this year of everything with the Ryder Cup and trying to get the playoffs out of football season. Like, a lot of moving pieces. I don't know the perfect answer, but I don't love like a staggered start anyways. Like, you got to do like, you gotta make it like only 3 days then or something. Like, I don't know. It just feels weird to start at 10 under too. It's a little extreme. It feels like, I don't know.
I feel like last year when they did it though, it seemed to work. Like, I forget who even started at 10 under, but like
DJ this time last year, DJ just shot 32 under at the Northern Trust or whatever the hell that was, and like won something else before that. Like, he was on a tear at this point last year, so he was far and away winning everything. But yeah,
what a guy.
I don't know. It's kind of a shame that it's so freaking confusing and like, or that they've tried to dumb it down, because East Lake is a sweet venue, and we've had a lot of really cool finishes and a lot of like pretty awesome Sunday afternoons. Like, I can think, right, FedEx Cup's only been going on for what, 12, 13 years at most now. Something along those lines, right? And we've had like some great finishes. Jim Furyk winning the rain, that shot that Bill Haas had, obviously Tiger, Rory knocking it in on like 16 to coming down the stretch, Xander Schauffele winning the Tour Championship, kind of kicking off his career a few years ago.
That happened.
It produces some pretty great winners, and right when you get 30 people at the end of the year, and realistically it's probably 30 of the top 35 golfers in the entire world, it's a pretty pressure packed, just fun weekend of golf. And just like get some characters down in Atlanta, right? Like, I think they had, who'd they have? God, today they had one of the Raptors out there on PGA Tour on Instagram. Rick Ross was out there playing, and
ball through. It's like, you gotta flex the calves, let them know you're here, like Phil Mickelson. Like,
and then I know like a couple of years ago they had like Big Boy, and he was out there in like a fur coat, like on Saturday walking around, like just it's kind of cool. And when you only have 30 people playing, right, like all the tee times are in prime time, it seems like you have some opportunities to do some other things outside the telecast. And like, right, with that extra time, yeah, like maybe we get down a rabbit hole. And if you're listening, on the weekend, maybe some of the announcers say some stupid stuff and we hear some stupid stories. But with that being said, we kind of get some unique content this week. So looking forward to watching a little bit and, mix that in with the Solheim Cup and some of that as well.
Yeah, it's nice. You get like they play in twosomes the whole week too, so you kind of get a little bit better flow and like you said, probably more coverage and see more holes, more shots of because like you said, it's probably 30 of the top 37 golfers in the world. So you're seeing shots by all the guys you want to see shots by. You're not kind of stuck with the different waves and all that stuff that comes with a full field event. So definitely looking forward to the Tour Championship this week, and I think it's going to be as always exciting finish. I hope hot and humid down in Atlanta this time of year. I just hope weather pans out and they don't have to move any times around or anything like that, and the course can play like as it should and it doesn't get soaked or anything like that. But that being said, talking playoffs, we should probably take a step back and just admire what we got to watch on Sunday at the BMW at Caves Valley between Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, 6 or 7 hole playoff. I forget which one it finished on, but insane playoff and insane like overall just like the week. I mean, 27 under being at the playoff number, like that's
nuts.
As much as people don't always love that, like I think last year's BMW like even par won right at Olympia Fields. Like I get that you want to see them work sometimes, but like it's a nice refresher every once in a while to just be like, hey, if the conditions don't show up and you have like a soft golf course, like these guys will rip it apart. Like they're just so good. like 27 under in 4 days. That's just I can't even.
Is that what it was? Was it soft conditions there? Like I really didn't get to watch much of it.
I think they played ball in hand, didn't they?
What was that?
Yeah, soft because they got rained on a ton earlier in the week and no wind at all. Like it was like not a drop of wind, so it's just target golf for these guys, and they're going to hit their spot pretty much every time if you don't give them any kind of elements to work with. So
yeah, because I feel like I remember I saw some of it the first day, and that I heard that the announcer was just saying how tough of a golf course it really was, and then I was just seeing that they finished what they finished, just like what the fuck.
They're getting to the point on the PGA Tour, and like this is probably a whole different podcast we can go down, but like if you don't get conditions and it's any bit soft at all, like there's no defense. I don't care how long it is. Like this year or this week's course or last week's course is 7,500 yards or so. Like you can't, and they 27 under. Like what are you gonna? It doesn't matter how long it is when you get it soft and it's as hot and humid as it is, and they're able to carry it as far as they are and all that stuff. Like they're just too good and too precise, accurate, whatever you want to call it, whatever the word is. Like if you don't get conditions, you can't defend it unless you like firm out your golf course like crazy, grow the rough up. I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast we can go down. But
and Fontaine, to that point, right? When I didn't watch a ton, I watched this weekend, and I watched the whole playoff. But one thing that kind of caught my eye, and I think when we were in the bus, right when we kind of started the Ireland trip, I was like, Bryson DeChambeau is going to win the FedEx Cup. That was my early take on it, just because I thought he played so well in that first playoff event. And he just, score didn't really match how well he was playing. So, finally got a take right for probably the first time all year. But with how soft it is, a guy like Bryson DeChambeau can hit driver everywhere, and wherever it lands, it stops. So his misses can be super wide, and all it's going to do is hit the ground and not go anywhere. So out there, like as long as there was no water in his landing area or like out of bounds where he was trying to hit the ball, like he's got 50 yards to deal with. And like if it's in the rough, it's in the rough. The rough wasn't that bad. The greens are soft. If he's coming out of the rough, like he doesn't have to play for it to run forever. So, and then with that being said, we have another guy, Cantlay, that gets it done, did it a completely different way, hit irons off tees and some short par fours, used wedge game to his success. But like you can get at every pin when you can spin the ball. Like these guys are so good. They can control spin. So if they want to knock it down and control the spin, they can get to a back pin. if it's on the front and it's hard, they can't always get to it. But if it's a front flag and it's soft, they can hit that in the middle of the green with a bunch of spin on it and get it to that front flag. So nothing's off limits for them out there now.
Yeah. Yeah, you take that kind of approach like Cantlay, he's such a good ball striker, and then you add the fact that he had statistically the best putting week in 18 years on the PGA Tour across every event. He was like 14 strokes gained putting this week or something ridiculous like that. That's the best number of any since like Statcast or whatever it is that does that. Their strokes gained was like kept. So you combine those things and it's pretty tough to beat. I mean, if you think about it though, and we can kind of get into this as we talk the playoff, right? Like Cantlay made everything he looked at, even the last 5 holes of regulation and then through the playoff. Seemed like Bryson missed like almost everything and he still made it to a playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like to Mikey's point of like kind of what Bryson can do when conditions are like that, like he had to miss probably 4 putts inside of 10 feet when they were like, if he makes any of those, he wins the golf tournament, and he missed all of them just to to lose.
He just put for 59.
I know that's one right, exactly. And that was like 6 feet, like, and that was Saturday. But like, it just goes to show you, like, the way he has built himself. Like, if conditions are ever, when, and it happens more than a couple times in PGA Tour, I'd say that there's a decent amount of weeks where conditions kind of resemble something like this, just given where they play and the time they play during the year. Like, he had to miss a lot of putts to lose in a 6-hole or 7-hole playoff. Like if he has a better week on the greens, like he probably runs away with it. Like, or Cantlay doesn't make literally a historic amount of putts or feet of putts, he probably wins it again. There's a lot of different ways he could have won. There's really only one way he could have lost. Like it's just interesting to see the different styles and how they play out on a place like that where everybody's making birdies, but it seems like Bryson is able to make them at a different clip than the rest when it's conditions of that nature. But I just thought, probably just to kind of close the loop on the BMW, like that was probably one of the funner golf tournaments to watch all year. Like the finish itself in regulation, like that whole back 9, they were pretty much going back and forth. You had the incident or whatever you want to call it on 14 where Bryson's like, hey, Patrick, stop walking. And then after that, Cantlay is just a killer, like, I don't think that Bryson's like totally out of his way. Like he can say that. He has a right to say that if you're walking while he's like addressing the ball and about to hit. Like I'm totally okay with him saying that. I don't think he was like being a dick or being, getting all the slander I see him getting online. I don't really see where that's warranted. I think it's well within his rights to tell somebody to stop walking while I'm about to hit a shot, especially when he's, inside the ropes in your fairway. But at the same time, like, it just gave Cantlay something to kind of hang on to and be like, all right, fuck you, buddy. Like even if it, he was well within his rights to say it, it gave him a little bit of fuel. And then after that, he was like, even though his ball striking wasn't, to the standard that Bryson's was, I don't think the last 8 holes they played, the putter was just like, get me within 30 feet and I'm making it. Like, I don't care. Like, it was just really impressive to watch. It was a lot of fun, like, and then especially like 3rd playoff hole maybe, where the first time they played the par 3 or whatever, Bryson hits it to like 4 feet first, and maybe 6 feet, and Cantlay hits it right inside him. It was like, wow, like that was like one of the more exciting things I've watched in recent memory when it comes to the PGA Tour.
Even when he almost chipped it in on 18 with that little flop shot. I mean, I wish that went in. I honestly wish that's how we won. That would have been amazing.
Quickly shed a tear for Sung JM. Would have got it done this week if it wasn't for 2 unbelievable performances. So
yeah, I love seeing Sung Jae starting to play well again, though. It's
exactly. He's right where he needs to be.
Hometown, home away from home here in Atlanta, where he bought his house. So you never know. As the no laying up guys talk about, the bells are ringing or whatever, everything's going off right now.
The models.
So the models are going off here. Telling Sung Jae this is the first time he's been able to play at home because of COVID, right? Like this is hometown. This is historic stuff on its way, I think.
That'd be fucking awesome if
that would be amazing. Imagine.
That would be the perfect cap to the first season of Bogey Proof.
Yeah, right. So you're just winning the tour championship.
I love it.
That'd be
on another note, though, let's make sure we, give the appropriate attention to what's going on the women's side of the game with the Solheim Cup this week. For our listeners that don't know, women's version of the Ryder Cup going on this week at what's the name of the golf course?
Inverness in Toledo.
Yes, I kept trying to say like Iverson. I was like, that's not.
Yeah, I always want to say it's Iverness, but I learned today it's Inverness.
Inverness. So obviously, Ryder Cup, Solheim Cup, President's Cup, whatever you want to call it, team events, match play events, give it to me. You know, I'm so excited to watch that this week. Obviously, going to watch the Tour Championship too, just due to what's at stake for the men on that side. But I'm super, super excited, especially with how much I've paid attention to the women's game this year compared to other years. I actually know probably almost all of the names playing. So I'm really, really excited to see a little bit of the Solheim Cup action this week. See the Corda sisters, Danielle Kang, you know, all these kind of absolute studs that we saw kind of tear it up on the LPGA Tour this year, just kind of get after it in a team event, match play foursomes, all that fun stuff that we love to watch.
Yeah, I watched on golf.com, they put up a video of, you know, the course at Inverness, and I've always heard good things about it, but after watching that video, and I suggest you guys, that course looks absolutely stunning. It just looks like such a cool golf course. Like the first and the 10th hole, like they're basically the same hole. Like they share a fairway, they split down. There's like a layup there. It's just, I don't know. It's like the same hole, but it's obviously different in so many other ways at the same time. But I'm excited to watch this tournament. I think
it's pretty unique. I like that.
Yeah. You know, Donald Ross doing Donald Ross things. So
yeah, so it's pretty cool too. You know, being Labor Day weekend, Monday finish. So they're playing. You know, the golf is being played Saturday through Monday. Just looked it up. It's 52. It's 52 minutes from my apartment to the Inverness Club. So there is a possibility. I'm not going to say that it's going to happen, but I think I will keep an eye on tickets here and see, you know, what it would be to sneak down there for. I would love to go for a morning or something like Sunday morning. I couldn't think of a better Sunday morning activity than to go watch the, you know, the morning whatever matches that go on there, and you know, come back and watch the other stuff in the afternoon. So going to keep an eye on that. And, you know, just like Joey, I've heard some really great things about the golf course. They actually had an LPGA Tour event there a couple years ago, kind of right at the beginning of COVID. That was the first tournament coming back out. So big supporters of women's golf. US Junior Am a couple of years ago as well. So I remember watching a little bit of that on TV.
You
actually
play there, Mikey.
Say that again?
You should try to play there later this year before the winter comes.
I would love to. They actually do a really cool PGA pro like 2-man, because I remember at one point my Uncle Billy was thinking about his college roommate there, the one that's the director of golf. They were trying to play in a tournament together, and this is like one of the national ones.
Yeah.
So they do one of those, kind of a cool 2-man, you know, PGA event. Yeah, but I would love to play down there. I've driven past the University of Michigan golf course in Alistair McKenzie design a couple times the last few days since I've been in town. That place looks kind of pure too. So
you know what it's called?
University of Michigan golf course.
Is that what I don't know.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, no, it's an Alistair McKenzie. Crazy elevation, crazy bunkering, kind of looks like Pasatiempo. So yeah, really, really cool. Just like it's built kind of on like a knoll or kind of like a hill. So just tons of different elevation changes, like, you know, elevated tees kind of sunken down in the ground to create blind tee shots. So, you know, I don't know, I'll probably sneak over. I think I'm going to probably sneak over there next week in the morning one day. Pretty reasonable to play a student around there. It's like $38 to walk. So gonna try to go. It's like $350 to join for the year if you're a student.
Sounds like I know what you're doing next fall.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see what it looks like. My plan is kind of to figure out what goes on with this fall, see how much time I have, and then I would love to join in like April, because in a perfect situation, I'm just working for the university through the summer and staying here, you know, play golf there all summer. For summer nights in Michigan when it's light until 9:30 at night. We can go out there.
Sounds like a pretty good gig.
Yeah. So
Not a bad gig at all.
And
looking forward to Solheim Cup this week. 2 players from Massachusetts on the team for the U.S. Megan King and Brittany. I can't remember her last name off the top of my head, but Brittany. So fun to have a little bit of kind of local flair on that. People, Megan King's kind of around our age, and I know she's good friends with a couple of people that I grew up playing golf with. So kind of fun to see those people playing on a national stage and watching them on TV.
Yeah, and speaking of the TV schedule for our listeners out there, if you want to watch, like Mikey said, Saturday through Monday, it actually looks like they got some pretty good coverage set up for this week. Obviously, it helps being, in the stateside and not being over in Europe with the timing of it. But 7:30 to 12:30 on Golf Channel, 2:30 to 6 on NBC, and then, 12:30 to 2:30 NBC, 2:30 to 6 back on Golf Channel. And it looks like they do that pretty much every day with a little bit more NBC time on Monday. So looks like you'll be able to watch it one way or another, depending on the channel, pretty much all week from beginning of the matches in the morning to the end of the, that 36 holes that they play every day at the end of the day. So looking forward to watching a bunch of Solheim Cup this weekend and trying to switching back and forth between that, Tour Championship, everything else going on in the world of golf. Busy week of golf, Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Wild card too. One of the most ridiculous follows on Instagram, Charlie Hall of the European Women's Solheim Cup team. Absolutely wild follow. She's an absolutely insane human being, and she lives a crazy life. So if you want to follow along to someone who lives a ridiculous life, she doesn't even have a driver's license, and she plays on the LPGA Tour and just like gets driven around everywhere. And I don't know, but very good follow on Instagram and very entertaining.
That honestly makes a lot of sense because I was watching the Women's Open.
She's insane. She's insane.
Whatever. She's swinging and like before Apex, like the hardest twirl, the most serious face ever, like chasing after it. She's on like hole 12 on Saturday. It was like, I was like, there's a lot going on here. I don't know what this girl's story is. But
watch her hit a driver and watch the recoil. Yeah. It hits her in the shoulder so hard on the way back. It's insane.
All right, I'm glad that like she's that kind of person because I was watching. I was like, "What is going on with this girl? Like, she's possessed out here." I was like, "This like made no sense." I was like, "Am I missing something? Like, is this finishing on Saturday or something like that?" I was like, "I would have thought for the major it ends on a Sunday." I'm like watching it. She's like 4 shots back, and like you said, like the most aggressive like recoil whiplashes on like an 8-iron into a par 3 I've ever seen. I'm like, what is going on with this girl?
She was playing on the Curtis Cup team, which is like the women's version of the Walker Cup when she was like 13.
Yikes.
Yeah, she's insane. Wow. She's a prodigy. And golf just got in the way. I just don't think a lot of the other, social and emotional skills ever caught up.
Wow. What a story. All right. I mean, I'm going to be keeping an eye on her this week, to say the least. But, kind of transitioning from the women's back to the men's, talking Solheim Cup, we got the Ryder Cup coming up in just under a month now for the men. And there's been a lot of rumblings, a lot of talk of captain's picks on the U.S. side. And I was just curious where you guys land on this. I don't know. Like, it seems like the top 9 are pretty much set. I mean, Cantlay was automatic qualifier now in the 6th spot. You have like your next 3 are like Finau, Spieth, Schauffele. It's like those 3 guys are going to get picked, I would think. And then like the last 3, there's like Harris English is in the mix there. I personally think he would make sense. I mean, he's just had such a strong year. It's kind of hard not to pick him. And then you got guys like you got Kisner, Scheffler, Webb Simpson, I mean, Patrick Reed, but like I don't know if he's playing this week, but I don't know where he's at physically to be able to do a Ryder Cup where it's 36 holes. I forget. I don't know if it's the first or second day or whatever it is, but there's a lot going on there too with him health wise, not even just his golfing abilities, but he's kind of that 12, 13 spot. I don't know. There's a lot of guys kind of floating around and there's a lot of talk. Even Kevin Na, I think, is kind of close with points, but What are your guys' picks if you're Stricker? Regardless of what happens in East Lake this week, like right now, if you had to pick, who's your like 11, 12 guys? You're going with Kisner for the kind of intangibles. Like, is a guy like Phil Mickelson even on the radar anymore? Like, I just see a lot of shit on Twitter, and it's like, what are we doing here? So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are.
I go Kisner, definitely. I honestly haven't put much thought to this, but no, I mean, besides Kisner, I think Kisner is somebody who we always want on the team. I mean, going back to foreplay, like Riggs, he's obviously always kind of pulling for him, but he makes a good point. You know, everybody kind of likes Kisner. Kisner makes an argument like there's nothing that kind of is more annoying when the guy's just making putts on you, like when you're out there playing, like you make a good putt to save par or birdie, and then they just come right back at you and make it in, and that's what Kevin Kisner kind of does. The dude can roll the rock, and he's a hell of a match play player. So I don't know, it's kind of a no-brainer in that aspect. But I also like Schauffele. I think he would be a good addition to the team, and fuck, I don't even know who else.
So
I mean, I know you're naming guys,
yeah,
but
so like basically you're taking Kisner, and I'll give you one more guy to pick out of Daniel Berger, Patrick Reed, Webb Simpson, Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, did I say Schauffele? I meant Scheffler.
Oh, okay, Scheffler. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Reed is Patrick Reed, right? But I saw a tweet the other day. It's like, all right, so we got Brooks and Bryson who hate each other. Now you got Brooks and Cantlay who hate each other. Now we're gonna put Patrick Reed on the team who everybody hates. So like, that's not a good team aspect. Even though he's right, Captain America, but
I saw a tweet today that was like, if Azinger was to be the captain of this Ryder Cup and did his pod system, there'd be 6 individual pods and like 3 pods of 2 would be because everybody fucking doesn't get along on the U.S. side right now. It's ridiculous. But they'd be interesting.
So I mean, I guess I'd go Kisner, and honestly, yeah, I mean, maybe we put Reed down, even though I am everyone knows I do like Patrick Reed, so maybe I have to stay with him. But I don't know. I feel like Scotty Scheffler would be a good addition to the team. His game's there, so I think he'd be fun to watch, and I think
yeah.
Those are my two.
Yeah, Joey, and I think we're not making anything new.
No.
Like, we're not making any crazy, predictions here. I feel like 11 people are pretty locked in for me. I really think it comes down to if Patrick Reed is healthy, he's on the team. I still think his short game is worthy of playing a Ryder Cup because he can play with anyone because of that. So this week will tell us a lot. And if he's trending, even if he's not 100%, I think he's on that team. And I think we don't ruffle any feathers. We go really realistically the top 12 point getters. Berger doesn't do anything crazy for me, but I think he's, he can play 3 times, and win a couple matches in a Ryder Cup. He's really good friends with JT and Spieth. If he's playing well, he's a partner for either of those guys as well. So I think when I think of intangibles, I think of, hey, who can play with some of our best players, right? Like Spieth, I don't know if I put Spieth as one of our best players, but if he's playing well and he's kind of catches a heater, God forbid he plays well this week and maybe wins, makes up a ton of ground, parlays it into a really, epic September. I like Spieth and Berger going out there that unconventionally just like making a 12 birdies or something on us in a 4-ball. Like, I think that's possible. So I think if Reed is healthy, he's too good to leave off the team, in my opinion. If he's not healthy, then my vote would be to put one of the 3 young guys in play. I think it's either Scheffler, it's either Scotty Scheffler, it's either Sam Burns, or way down the list, Zalatoris. I think Zalatoris was at a huge disadvantage. He's played on the PGA Tour for 1 year, and he's like 21st in rankings. If he was on the tour for 2 years, I understand the points are more weighted towards this year's performance. But if he got in all 8 majors, or 7 majors that were played this time, if he had got another start in the Masters, if he had got another start in the PGA, like, who knows? Maybe he wins one of those. Maybe it's another top 5. Maybe he's 15th or 14th or something, and he's more in that mix for points. So I know he hasn't played it tremendous on the stretch, and obviously not being part of the FedEx Cup kills his. And that's probably the reason he's off. He's not going to be on the team is because he didn't have an opportunity, to raise those numbers up, to pump those numbers up, as people say.
Yeah, I mean, just for context with that point, right? Like, Cantlay won last week, and I know he had a pretty good year. He won at the Memorial, and he won back at the Zozo before. So Cantlay won a few times, but Cantlay jumped 6 spots on the Ryder Cup listings with his win last week. He went from 11 or 12 or so 5 spots. He went from 11th to 6th with 1 win in the playoffs. So like your point, you give Zalatoris a couple more majors where all those points are way jacked up for the Ryder Cup, and you actually let him play in the playoffs that he was like 11th in the standings going into. It's probably a different story, and he's much more in that bubble range than down at 21st or 22nd, like you said. So yeah. I think that's a good point. I like the young guys too. Like,
and what happens if a guy like Jason Kokrak comes out and he wins this week, or a guy like Billy Horschel, who like those guys are 15 and 17. I don't know if they get enough points to be an automatic qualifier, but if they don't, like they're probably 9th through 11th in that spot, and now like we've thrown someone in the mix that we did not expect to be there, and now we have a different discussion on our hands. So will be interesting to kind of see where the points fall after this week. And to my understanding, after this week is kind of right. We figure out who the kind of the top 8 qualifiers are.
Yeah, I don't know who I don't know when the deadline is for Stricker to make his picks too, but I think like you said, the top 8 are locked in after this week, I believe, because there's no more golf to be played until the Ryder Cup for the men's side. But just to kind of go full circle and give my thoughts on it, I think 1 through 10, like we kind of all agreed on, they're pretty locked in. It's going to be hard to not pick one of those guys unless something drastic happens. So like you're saying, like a guy that's in like the 18 spot ends up going up and winning this week or something along those lines. Patrick Reed, I agree. If he shows any sign of life this week, I can't imagine them not picking him. I don't know if I do. Just looking at his last like 5 months, it just hasn't been that great. And I think we're so deep in the US right now in that like kind of bubble range. It's like I kind of would rather go with the hot hand or get some younger blood in there, like a Scheffler. Like he's the guy I'm circling that's not automatically in that. It's like we got to get we need to get him on the team, I think, just because you want to get him some experience. Whistling Straits makes a ton of sense for him from like a golf course fit perspective versus like a guy like Patrick Reed who doesn't hit it that far. I know his short game's ridiculous and that will travel anywhere, but I think the game would be a lot easier for a guy like Scotty Scheffler at Whistling Straits. Even a guy like Kokrak or Sam Burns, kind of these longer hitters, like Whistling Straits, again, they have the right to set it up however they want, but fits bombers a little bit more than I would think the shorter guys. So I'm all for getting some young blood in there, and Scotty Scheffler's like I really, really hope we get him in this week. I mean, if he goes and shoots 10 over this week at the Tour Championship, maybe my answer changes, but I just think he's had a really solid year. He's got a pretty well-rounded game that he'll be able to play with a few different people, and the golf course fits him really well. I also, if I've got to pick one more, I like Berger too. I think Berger, Webb Simpson, like a Kiz, like they're all very similar styles, I'd say, where like they're not bombers. They just kind of plot their way around and, good putters and things of that nature, where it's like Berger just had probably a slightly better year than the other two. And it's kind of tough. He came out of post-COVID firing, right? Like he won that first event. It was like top 5, top 10, and a few after that. Like I think he won Pebble this year too, I believe. So it's like, I think Berger just had a little bit better year, and it's a similar style than the other two guys that I'd probably give the nudge to Berger. But again, a lot can change this week with the points and the stakes that are, at play here in the playoffs. And my answer might change. But if I got to pick 2 more, I think I'd probably go Berger and Scheffler would be my 2 to round out the 12 for the U.S. Ryder Cup. But you see a lot of crazy shit online, people talking Phil and everything. Like it's interesting to see where kind of people coming from the clouds with their picks. But I'm interested. I don't know. I'm excited for the Ryder Cup. I feel like they just got to mix it up a little bit based on what they do. Huh?
When are those picks made again?
I don't know. Let me check. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I just hope they mix it up a little bit and don't just pick the top 12. Like, give a little bit of thought to it, or at least, you know.
I was just thinking, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, if those top guys make it, but like, what if it was just all captains' picks?
That would be chaotic.
You know? I think it'd be, I don't know. I think it'd be fun though. I mean,
It definitely would.
it's never going to get down to that, but
Yeah, who in those automatic qualifiers
right.
not going to have on the team?
What's that, Mikey?
Who in those group of automatic qualifiers like is not going to be on the team?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. But I mean, then yeah, I don't know. Going back to just kind of those rivalries, it's not something you want on a team aspect, I guess. I mean, Herb Brooks said it best. I'm not looking for the best guys. I'm looking for the right ones.
Oh, a little miracle quote. Here we go.
I mean, come on, guys. We haven't won a Ryder Cup.
Let's get Stricker on the phone. We need to hear some of that kind of shit.
What's that?
We gotta get Stricker on the phone, give him a little pep talk like that. I love that.
So I don't know. I think it'd just be interesting, but no, I mean, obviously, a lot of those top guys are still going to be picked anyway. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know the exact date. I couldn't find it in my quick Googling of when the picks got to be made. But either way, I'm sure it's not too long after this tournament concludes. So I'm sure they're made within the next, I don't know, call it 10 days or 11 days, whatever it may be. But I don't know. Exciting time for golf fans. And there's a shit ton of golf going on in both the women's and men's side, a lot of different team things. I mean, we don't have to go into Bryson world, but like the non-golf world of Bryson is just as crazy as the golf side of Bryson right now, with him doing a long drive competition the Monday after the Ryder Cup concludes, and like all the on-course stuff, and today's ruling of Brooksy, if you get caught yelling Brooksy at him on the course, you get kicked off, no questions asked. Like,
I hope they get paired up together. Like you can, you know,
they're pretty good in a 30-man field. I mean, there's no cuts and they're playing 4 days. I don't know. I can't do math in my head like that, but like the odds are as good as they'll ever be this week, just by the nature of, you know, the format of the tournament this week. But I don't know, man. It's a lot, and I can't imagine, like, you know, I think we all wanted a villain in golf like 2 years ago, right? We we're all saying we need some. Everybody's just the good Mr. Good Guy, and like it's all, you know, it's all good and well. You love seeing people do well, but you need something to kind of like stir the pot, and we definitely got that with Bryson DeChambeau in the last 18 months. So it's interesting to see. I'm sure it's kind of tough on him. I think it's getting to the point now where it's kind of wearing on him mentally with everything going on outside of golf, that it's all self-inflicted, but it seems to be kind of getting to the point where he's like, I think I've gone too far here. I need to tone it down, but we'll see. I don't know. You guys got anything else? I think it's going to be an exciting weekend of golf, and next, you know, month or so will be pretty interesting to watch how things play out.
Yeah, no, I think we hit it.
All right.
A couple exciting things coming though. I'm looking forward to them. I'm hoping I get to actually watch, but we'll see.
Yeah. All I gotta say is I am refreshed from our summer vacation and ready to lock in for a nice month of golf. So couldn't ask for a better little stretch here with Tour Championship, Solheim, Ryder Cup, kind of bookend. I don't know what goes on in the middle of September, but you know,
we'll find something.
Maybe it's just some crazy. Maybe it's like a Bryson DeChambeau dating show. Like I don't know what's on
at this point.
Or like a man versus food Bryson DeChambeau eating contest. Like, I think that's just like him doing ridiculous things, like just putting his body and, you know, through absolute craziness and still being an elite athlete. I don't know. We're in for something.
Yeah, I mean, he basically lives in like a sway house in Texas with all his buddies. They just it's like a TikTok house that he lives in. But yeah, it's glad to be back. Like Mike said, ready to start pumping content out again after a little summer break. So, cheers, boys, and we'll keep in touch.
Cheers.